all that heat and whatnot. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We have a great show for you today. And as always, please make sure that you guys are staying hydrated. If you're watching us online, please make sure that you share, comment, and subscribe. You guys know what to do. Drop a heart emoji, drop an American flag, whatever you can. Drop it right there in the comments to help kick the algorithm to get it out to more people. And if you comment, we'll do our best to pop it up on the screen so that other people can see and we can have a conversation together as I continue to wipe the continued sweat from my eyes because, man, it is hot. And I guess the air conditioning is not on in this place. So let's start to get into it. If you guys are new to the show, you might not know I live in Rochester, New York. Shout out Rochester, okay? The seedy, rusty underbelly of the Rust Belt up here in New York State. I love my city. It's not perfect, but I'm working hard on making a difference here. And I hope that all of you are encouraged by our show to start to get active wherever you are, whether that's going out and joining a local political committee or going and talking or listening to at least city council or school board, wherever you are, or even maybe the county ledge or town board, depending on where you are. And sometimes there's even a fire district meeting. Now, drop some comments in the comments. Make sure you hit the share button. Share this out with your friends, your family, and your enemies. You are listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams, the #1 conservative talk show in upstate New York. Let's do our best to make it the #1 conservative talk show in New York State. So make sure that you're sharing this out. And it's never too late to drop a comment and to like the show. So let's get into this. Let's go. Now, being that I live here in Rochester, New York, you might have seen us about a week or so ago on the news, on the national and worldwide news, because Rochester's always on the news for something, and it's never for positive things. And that's a daggone shame. So the other week, our mayor decided that he wanted to lambaste our police force along with the police chief, getting up there and just going at our police for helping Homeland Security investigations when they called for emergency backup. So that was a terrible experience being a Rochesterian and somebody who's lived here pretty much all my life. I was not very fond of that at all. Now, let's be clear. HSI is really like the FBI, but for Homeland Security, which they deal with very serious and sensitive investigations and very serious criminal investigations. So it's not like it's regular ICE or something like that, right? Like this is investigations, meaning that the people that they're looking into or going after are most likely serious criminals, you know? So this is and the people in question that they went after were people that were involved in human trafficking. So apparently the politicians in and around Rochester love people who human traffic right now. City council loves people who human traffic. The county ledge people love people who human traffic. You know, our mayor loves people who human traffic. Even these ridiculous mayoral candidates, Sasashi or whatever his name is, the Indian dude that's not even from Rochester, that's only been here a few years, now talking about he wants to run for mayor. Ain't nobody never seen or heard of him until a couple of months ago. Absolutely not. Or Mary Lupian, Queen of the Red, okay, who lambasted our police force on a number of occasions and even pushed to defund and abolish our police. You guys heard me right. She pushed to abolish our police. Her and Stanley Martin, another one of our city council members, complete and utterly just, it's repugnant, honestly, because it's a complete disregard for the vast majority of our citizens who we know almost 60 to 70% live in crime-heavy neighborhood, live in crime-active neighborhoods, and about 40 to 50% live in crime-heavy neighborhoods. Like, we're not even doing any justice to our citizens when you're like defund and abolish the police. Now Stanley Martin and Mary Lupian are trying to back off of that and like it never happened. I'm never going to let nobody forget about that. Nope, that's what we're not doing, okay? You said that, you stand by it for the rest of your life, as long as you live. I stand by stuff that I said in 3rd grade. Heck, I know people who owe me $1.25 for lunch money from 3rd grade, okay? I'm not letting that go. You know, it's ridiculous. So drop some comments in the comments. We're going to continue on with what we're talking about. So now, because of that insanity, it caught the attention of Tom Homan. So now Tom Homan is coming here tomorrow from Washington, D.C., or I'm not actually sure where they're based, where he's normally based. But, you know, he was in D.C. this morning. He did a press conference this morning with the morning press gaggle with, what's her name, Carolyn? Look, I don't remember her last name. It's not important. But anyway, so he was out there. Yeah, he was out there today, this morning, and he said he's coming here tomorrow. He said he's going to come. And they asked him, why is he coming? He said to show the police that they are supported. Now, I don't know if you guys follow me often, but if you're on my Facebook page or on my YouTube, you may have seen my speech at City Council last week. It's only like 2 minutes. Go watch it. Go check it out. I just posted it like a couple days ago. But anyway, in that speech and speak to council, I tell them, I say, you guys, our police force does not feel like they're being supported. So if the police don't feel like they're being supported, what's going to encourage them to actually do their job the way that is actually necessary? Like they feel like they're unsupported. You have disincentivized policing. You have made our city less safe. And now we don't even have as many police officers because they all went and left. The attrition rate here is very, very high. And Stanley Martin and Mary Lupien pushed to defund the police, and they took $5 million away from the police about 2-3 years ago now. 3 years ago almost now. And it was $5 million they took away from the police force here, and they put it into this ridiculous thing called the Police Accountability Board. Now, some people be like, well, Marcus, but isn't accountability for the police good? Yes, most assuredly it is. But when you have an outside entity that is filled with everybody that hates the police, I call them the hate the police hate group, because that's what they are. If you look at the history of the individuals in this group, all of them hate the police. None of them have any military or law enforcement background. None of them. So, and you can go back and look at their previous history on social media, in the news, where they're just completely dragging the police. Now, I believe in accountability for the police as much as the next person. But we've got $5 million. Let me tell you about these people, Police Accountability Board, while I got 2 seconds here. Listen, the Police Accountability Board was paying for like $32,000 a month for their rent, for their building that they were renting from the local Democrat and Chronicle newspaper, a Gannett newspaper, which we know is very left-leaning. Now, you're going to tell me that that makes sense? You're going to tell me that that doesn't seem like some scuzzy business? Like that's not going to get them extra credit from the newspaper to put in articles and stuff about them? Because $32,000 a month is a lot of money for rent. Then they were like, oh, well, we need to stay down here because it's where all of the things are. No. There's a ton of city buildings downtown that the city owns that are either completely not in use or disused, and plenty of space. Now they're moving over to some other location. Finally, after like 3 years, okay, they're being put in some other location because, again, that rent $32,000 a month, that's crazy. Some people, actually, largely the income of the city is below 32,000. I believe that's I believe it's 34,000 is what about 40% of the city makes. 34,000 or less is what like 33% of the city makes. That's crazy. But they're spending that much a month in rent. Make it make sense to me. Doesn't make any type of sense. But this is what they did. So now, if we want to talk about good ideas and bad ideas, if they really were concerned about people getting involved with the police and stuff like that, then they would have put that money into after school programs for the youth, or into tutoring for the youth, or into occupational development for the youth. But did they do that? Absolutely not. Did they put it into rehabilitation services for those coming out of jail or prison? Absolutely not. Reintegration services? Absolutely not. It's very clear that they don't care, you know, and they're just going to whatever their fancy is. And you should have seen the exorbitant salaries that these people were making in the Police Accountability Board. Absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. But anyway, because of all of the nonsense here in Rochester, Tom Homan is coming here tomorrow. It'd be nice. I wish I could go see him and meet him and be like, hey, man, you're doing some things and I appreciate what you're doing. But unfortunately, I'm busy tomorrow at the time he's going to be there. Sad face, tears. Drop a comment, drop a like, hit the share button. I see you guys out there watching. I need to see them hearts. Drop a heart. Okay, there's a heart. Okay, and drop a couple of comments in there, even if you just drop an American flag. Show me that you're watching and you're supporting. Now, as we have this conversation about Tom Homan, about immigration and stuff like that, remember, this is a national issue. This isn't a local issue. However, our city has decided that they want to be a sanctuary city. Now, the sanctuary city policies violate federal laws. Now, I'm not a big person on government, but I don't care whether it's big government, local government, or whatever. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And in this case, our local government is wrong. They're violating federal law. And what happens if you violate federal law? Well, in this type of case like this, people should go to jail. I don't know who should go to jail, but whoever's up here trying to enforce this law, which is clearly unconstitutional by our federal constitution, not to mention by a bunch of different other regulations as far as immigration law goes, and as well as even our state constitution. But we can't have those conversations. Nobody wants to have a real conversation on that. But I want to go down to the border for a second and talk about that, not the human trafficking in our city, because we could definitely talk about all the human trafficking in our city, all of the organ harvesting that's going around in our city, and all types of other stuff that's going around in our city that nobody wants to talk about. You know, we need to have these very, very serious conversations, which nobody wants to actually have. Ricky, I see you drop me a heart. Thank you very much, Ricky. You know, this type of stuff is very serious to talk about. Did you guys know that since the current president, President Trump, got into office, that the encounters at the border have dropped 99.9%? That's wow, right? Like, that's just an amazing, amazing thing. Like 99.9%. That's an amazing amount. That's really cool and really awesome. And I'm very glad, because after them letting 32 million people in that are illegal aliens over the last 4 years, I'm very happy that that number is down, because that's a crazy, crazy amount, you know. But are they talking about that in the news? No, because they wouldn't. If Trump cured cancer tomorrow, they wouldn't give him credit for it. This is a problem. Okay. Even me, I was no fan of Biden or Obama, but when they did something right, they deserve their accolades. You know, I found myself at the tail end of the Obama administration having to defend a couple of things that people were attacking Obama for, and I didn't like him at all. At all. That man owes me actual cash money. Okay, that man owes me over $5,000 that they stole from me, okay, to pay for other people's health care. I want my money back, Obama. Here's looking at you. I'm going to catch you outside one of these days. I'm going to tell you about it to your face. You owe me money, and I want my money back with Bitcoin interest, okay? I'm not playing, okay? Because it's illegal what you did. You just stole my money, Obama. I'm not happy, and I'm going to let you know, and eventually I'm going to get my money from you. I'm not even remotely playing about that, okay? And I want it with interest. Bitcoin interest. But this is serious. Right now, it doesn't matter what party you are, whether you like somebody, whether you don't like somebody. When somebody in office does something that's right, okay, you say, yeah, they did something right. But right now, we're in a situation in our country where somebody could do anything really good, and because they're allegedly from the other party or whatever the case is, people won't even bat an eye. They won't even talk about it. It's crazy. Remember, they were talking about the stock market a couple of weeks ago, and now the stock market's through the roof. And we had the stock market gain the most gains that it ever gained and ever gained and gaining gains. And that was for real. Like at one time it gained the most in one day it had ever gained. But can we talk about that? Absolutely not. They weren't talking about that. Then they wanted to say, oh, well, it was insider trading. Y'all was insider trading all the time. How y'all work in the government, work in the Senate, work in the House of Representatives, making a couple $100,000 a year. Y'all up there worth $50 million. Explain it to me like I'm five, okay? Y'all basically doing stuff that's not just only, I'm trying to say it nicely, not just unseemly, but it's also completely against the benefit of the American citizen. Like, there's all types of insider trading. Trump just came out, as a matter of fact, speaking on insider trading, Trump just came out and he said he would firmly support a bill where anybody that's in Congress wouldn't be able to own or hold stocks. Can we talk about that, though? No credit, no nothing there. Nobody can say anything about that. See, and this is the problem. Do you know that Trump was pitching about a week ago, and some people, Republicans in the Senate, were pitching higher taxes for the wealthy? That's right. All of these socialists and far left people running around talking about eat the rich, tax the rich, make the rich pay their fair share. Trump and the state and the Senate on the federal level and people in the House of Representatives were like, we should tax the rich more. Now, it wasn't a lot more. I forget the exact amount, but it was like 3% more. It was like from the difference from 37.8% to like 39.2 or something like that. You know, like it wasn't a lot, but it was a good amount and it would have brought in more money. But are we going to talk about that? And then Trump just yesterday, maybe it was Saturday because today's Monday. He said that, well, maybe he won't do the tax increase for the rich because maybe they'll all leave the country. First off, I doubt it. But the fact is, if the news would have picked that up, if the Democrats would have picked that up and they would have said, yeah, look, Trump's trying to actually tax the rich more, you know, we would have been able to tax the rich more. But no, because he's the wrong flavor or on the wrong team or because Orange Man bad, even though it's exactly what the people on the left, the Democrats and even the socialists wanted, they weren't even talking about it. They didn't have a word to say about it when Trump was trying to tax the rich. Explain it to me like I'm 5. If you believe that and you stand by it, you need to stand by it all the time, not some of the times, not when it's just people that you like are saying it, even when people that you don't like are saying it. But can we have that conversation? Make sure you hit the like and the share button and get this out to more people. Share it in your group, on your page, share it on your friend's page, share it on your enemy's page. Just make sure you share it everywhere you can. And if you're listening to us out in Radio Land, make sure you tell your friends, enemies, and the people that you don't like, especially the people that you do like, to tune in to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams, Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3, because here we have the important conversations in your ear that you need to hear, because these are the conversations that we need to have, because if we don't have them here, you're not going to hear them anywhere else. And most other people don't have the spine or the backbones or the balls or whatever you want to say it to have these types of real conversations. Now, as we're getting into this, hit that heart button, hit the like, and drop a heart or a American flag in the comments. Let me know that you're watching, you're listening. So, talking about this here, Trump's going to tax the rich, and nobody supported that. So it's kind of a dead in the water thing. We'll see if the Republican House can get that passed. Maybe. I don't think that it'll have any movement in the Senate because the people are, 1, a lot of people don't know about it. 2, the media isn't covering it. And 3, where are all the Democrats that were crying about taxing the rich this whole time? You know, make it make sense to me. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Come on now. So this is a serious conversation. Now Trump's talking about, oh, well, you know, we might be able to eliminate taxes. We might be able to eliminate taxes because we're doing these tariffs. And everybody's out there screaming, no, we got to get rid of the tariffs. The tariffs are breaking everything. They're breaking everything. No, they're not. No, they're not. The problem is that our manufacturing capability has been moved outside the United States of America since the early 90s, largely with the NAFTA agreement that went in under Clinton. You know, Clinton sold us out to China and other countries, and now we got nothing here. No manufacturing. Again, I live in the Rust Belt, you guys. Okay. Right here in my city, we used to have French's mustard. We had Campbell's. Now, this was before my time. I'm not that old, but Campbell's mustard, French's. We have Barsham Lam. You might know Barsham Lam. They're still here partially, but they were real big here. We even used to have Kodak and Xerox, but that's a whole nother conversation. But we have manufacturing here. And now all the manufacturing is moved out. Now they're turning all the old manufacturing places into rentals and stuff like that, with nobody able to afford to rent in any of these new places that they're building. But we're not going to have a conversation about that. But the fact of the matter is we had manufacturing here. Now we don't. So that's a whole segment of jobs that we don't have anymore. But as we start these tariffs up, we're going to need to bring the actual manufacturing back to the U.S. And yes, it will cause some pain for some time because we got to beef up our actual manufacturing ability in the U.S. We have to build new factories. We have to put in new equipment, and we got to get people back to work. And now not everybody's going to be able to get to work because a lot of the work is now done with machines, but people will get back to work in large numbers by bringing the actual manufacturing back in the US. Plus, it brings more of a tax base because now the companies are manufacturing stuff. Now there are more people that are spending money in the economy that can buy stuff. And that's been a serious issue with us for a long time. The prices have gone up higher, higher, and higher, and people just don't have money to buy anything anymore. Now, that's also a monetary policy issue, which we could talk about at another time. But largely, it's because all of the manufacturing jobs that we had traditionally, which used to be good paying jobs, have all gone and flown away into the air. It's so disgusting. It makes me want to spit. But this is the problem. This is the serious problem, and we need to have conversations about it because everybody's against these tariffs. Why? Oh, well, it's hurting small businesses because the small businesses are buying from China. Why are they buying from China? Hello? Why are small businesses buying from China? Because it's cheap, right? Because it's cheap. Not because it's good for our country, but because it's cheap and it makes them more profit. Now, the people that are out here crying the most about this are the Democrats and the far left. Oh, the tariffs are crushing small businesses, but they're not. The problem is that the small businesses that are complaining, which is not a lot of them, but some of them are the ones that are sourcing their stuff from China. Well, but why are they sourcing it from China? Because it's cheap, 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 right? And when I say cheap, I don't just mean in dollars. I also mean in quality. China's got a lot of poor quality stuff. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember when they used to still make some stuff in Taiwan. Yeah, that was a thing. But yeah, so no, I mean, you can still get inexpensive goods from places like Vietnam and other places, India and stuff like that. But again, we shouldn't even be doing that because we should be making the stuff right here at home so we can employ American citizens, so American citizens can have money to spend on the housing, which keeps going crazy up high. Okay, can we have those conversations? But no, people don't want to have those conversations about the tariffs. If we don't bring manufacturing back home, our country and nation is dead. Because you can only spend the money until you ain't got the money. And if you ain't got a way to get more money, then you won't have any more money. I mean, it's simple, right? Like everybody knows that. Like you can tell a 5-year-old that. A 5-year-old can understand that. It's not a hard comment. It's not a hard concept. Drop some comments, drop some hearts. I want to see them thumbs up, them hearts in the likes and stuff. And the emojis, drop some hearts and American flags in the comments. Let me know you're watching. Drop a comment. We'll do our best to pop it up on the screen. And please make sure that you guys donate. You can donate and support the show. We're working on getting some more airtime. We had somebody that gave us some more equipment the other day. So now we're going to work on setting it up and see if it brings in some better footage and stuff like that. I'm so thankful. We appreciate you for that because we were looking to raise some funds for that as well. So, but we still do need more airtime. Airtime costs dollars. So please donate $10, $25, whatever you can do. We're working on raising $50 to $100 an episode so we can get more airtime and possibly even get another segment on another time during the week. You can do that on Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number 1. That's $MW Real, the digit 1. And we also have Venmo and PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams on either of those. And GiveSendGo.com/Marcus C. Williams. It's also in the little ticker below, so you can see it in the ticker if you're watching us online. Now, let's get back into it with these tariffs. So now, Trump has put a pause on the tariffs, and the Democrats are like, oh, well, he rigged it. He rigged everything. First they're like, oh, well, look at him going back on it. He said he was going to do this, and now he's going back on it. Ha ha, you look foolish. We win. Well, Trump said that he was just going to use the tariffs as a temporary way to show them that he means business and to make them capitulate. And they did. A ton of countries and companies have come to Trump to make trade deals already. Something like 90-something countries already were in the pipeline. We've got 15 already with outlines that have come to America to actually hammer out a deal. Like we're really, really close there. So these are conversations that we need to actually be talking about. I see it. Who's that? Mad Mog, I see you there. I appreciate you. So these are the conversations that we need to be having. if we see these tariffs and now they're paused temporarily and all of these countries want to come on board and make trade deals with America, that's a positive thing. Why won't the Democrats and the left actually acknowledge that? Then they're like, oh, well, Trump made, he was doing insider trading by telling people to invest and he knew he was going to end the tariffs and stuff like that. I mean, don't you want somebody who knows they're going to do something before they do it, or you just want somebody flying by the seat of their pants all the time? I thought the concept was is the leader of the free world should have a plan when they're going into things. And he clearly had a plan going into this. And he told us all what his plan was. I don't know why nobody was listening to him, but a lot of people did listen to him, you know? And then he, in the morning before the stock market opened, this is the craziest thing to me. He's like, yeah, we're going to, today would be a great day to invest in the stock market. He told everybody. I didn't have any money to invest in the stock market. So I'm just putting that out there. You know what I'm saying? Not at that time. But he told everybody. Everybody could have invested in the stock market early in the morning when the bell rung at 9, okay, or 9:30, whatever it is. I forget sometimes. But yeah, everybody could have invested. But the Democrats wanted to be like, oh, well, he rigged things and it was only benefited him and his friends. Who told you to tell everybody to sell their stock? The real people manipulating the market were the Democrats and the left, the ones that are in charge, that were telling everybody, oh, he's taking away your life savings and everything, and you should be afraid, and you should sell all of your stuff that you've been holding. And what did Trump get on the TV and say when they were saying that? He said, don't sell anything. It's going to go back up. He said, don't sell anything. It's going to go back up. That's the way the markets work. He's like, it's going to go up higher than it's ever been before. You'll see. Just wait. He said that out his mouth. And you still listen to Democrats and you sold a ton of stuff in your portfolio. Some of you sold all of it because you're terrified, because you listen to them. Like, they just manipulate the people so bad. It's terrible to see that people are just following along with them, and they continue to keep the populace in fear. They rule through fear, not through love. They try to tell you stuff like love is love, but they don't mean it. They don't love you. They don't. Their policies show that they don't love you. They've been talking about taxing the rich for how long? You understand what I'm saying? They had Congress, all of Congress, the House and the Senate for what, 3 years? And they had the presidency. They couldn't be stopped. Did they raise the taxes on the rich once? No. They talked about the dreamers this whole time. Oh, we need to do something about the dreamers. The dreamers are the illegal aliens that came here as children. Okay. Did they do something about that? No. And they've been complaining about that for what, 8 years? You know, maybe even more. Okay, maybe even more than 8 years. You know, but this has been, yeah, because it was, what was it, before Trump ran the first time. So it was before 2016. So you're talking, as far as I can remember, at least 12 years. But they didn't do anything. So when these people are in power and they don't do anything, what? We're not supposed to say anything? There's not supposed to be any accountability here. And this portion of my conversation is really for the Democrats. Like, you need to hold these people accountable, because generally on the federal level, things change. I like, I'll give what's his name? I believe, is it not Brian Tracy? What's the other gentleman's name? I forget his name. It's escaping me now. I'll remember. But he used to always say, things will change. He's like, the seasons will change. It'll go up, it'll go down. And he's talking about, we got to prepare in the winter for the good times and prepare in the summer for the bad times. And that's what happens all the time in Congress. The parties change. Eventually somebody else is in power. But the whole time that the Democrats were in power, they didn't do anything that they promised you. I live in Rochester, in New York, a deep blue city in a blue state. I live in New York State. The state assembly has been run by them for 65 years. They've had a majority in it. The state Senate, that sometimes alters and switches, but they've had the majority in the Senate for probably the last 8 years. You know what I'm saying? We've had a governor that's a Democrat for almost, I don't know what, 14 years or something like that. Somebody drop how long it's been in there. But we've had Democrats this whole time. What have they done? They haven't done anything that they promised us or said that they're interested in doing. So where is the accountability from other Democrats? Like, when Democrats are in office, like, you're a registered Democrat, you need to be holding these people accountable. You know, our housing, I'll give you my city as an example. Deep Blue, for 57 years, it's been all Democrats in every single office, judge, city council, city school board, and the mayor's office. But poverty is skyrocketed. Whose fault is that? The Democrats. What have they done about it? Nothing. And then they'll say, oh, well, we put all this money in there. Clearly, it's not working since poverty has gone up and up and up and up and up. And then their whole plan and solution is to push the people that are in poverty and that are struggling out of the city so that they can say that they did something. So not even a real solution. Okay. There's been food insecurity since I guess the 90s, right? When did they get rid of the Midtown? Whenever they got rid of Midtown, there used to be that was our downtown mall we had, which was very convenient for the vast majority of the citizens. When they got rid of that, then we didn't have anything else. And it's hard for people to get food. Like, we got all these food deserts. It's crazy. What have the Democrats done about that? Give some money to their cousins' companies and the companies that they're on the board of and their friends and stuff like that. Well, where are all the Democrats here in the city complaining about that? What's happened to crime? Crime is going crazy, even in the nicer neighborhoods. We got some really solid neighborhoods. We're talking millionaire neighborhoods here in the Park Ave area, Cobbs Hill, places like Highland. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking multi-million-dollar nice houses. Okay? But what's being done? Crime skyrocketed. Where are the Democrats? Even in the nice neighborhoods I just mentioned, crime skyrocketed. Where are the Democrats? What are they doing about the crime? We got all these, the children are failing the schools. The schools, we got the worst school district in the nation. Excuse me, third worst school district in the nation. Whatever. Worst school district in the nation. Number one worst school district in the state. What are we doing? All Democrats. Where are the Democrats to hold the other Democrats accountable? That's my only question. The way that y'all give it to Trump and give it to Republicans, y'all need to have that same energy for these people that are promising you stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So the Republicans aren't promising you these things. So you can be mad at them all you want, but these people that are promising you these things and not delivering are the problem. Now, I'm a firm Republican, okay, but I do believe that our community needs to be prioritized. So sometimes I stick to my constitutional and foundational roots as a Republican, and when the party diverges from that, I'll be the first person to say something about it. I am actually very frequently, especially locally. People know that, and not everybody is happy about that. Because when I see them doing wrong, I'm not with it. But I also believe that if we made promises, we need to fulfill them to our citizens. You don't make, because you're supposed to represent us, right? So if you promise us something, you're supposed to deliver on that. But when our elected officials, any party, treat us like that parent that's an absent parent that promises that they're going to take you to the movies or to the park on the weekend and they don't never show up. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's dead wrong. But can we have that conversation? So one of the biggest things and issues that I have with the Republican Party right now is there's been a resurgence of a movement for people talking about reparations, right? So I'm not going to really dig into the reparations conversation right now, but I'm going to make a couple of points here because this is important to make a point of. Number one point, Republicans promised reparations to Black Americans and previously enslaved Americans. So you made a promise. The General Sherman made that promise. Abraham Lincoln codified that promise. And then after Lincoln was assassinated and what's his name? Oh my goodness, why is Andrew the Indian Killer Jackson got in office? Then the Democrats took it all back. And now you got the Democrats out here playing in our face when it comes to reparations, talking about, oh, well, we should give reparations to everybody, not just Black people that were enslaved and stuff like that, or have the lineage of that. We should give it to the people that are Caribbean, or we should give it to anybody that's from Africa or other melanated people. Whoa, hold up, pause, pump your brakes. This is a lineage-based thing, and they don't have the lineage. So you're trying to say that they should get it, because really what it is it's not about reparations for the Democrats, you guys. I'm gonna be very clear. What it is about is, for the Democrat, it's about a massive push for so-called universal basic income. And I'm using air quotes if you guys are listening to me on the radio, because it's a whole lie. They don't want universal basic income. If you live in a city that had these pilot programs of universal basic income, it's never universal basic income, because the concept of universal basic income is it's for everybody. But no, they say, oh, well, we're going to give it to 500 people, but they're all going to be from the same socioeconomic demographic, and one of our cousins or our friends that works for one of the projects or nonprofits that we're involved with behind the doors. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. This is what the Democrats are doing. Y'all need to wake up. You need to pay attention. Okay, so when they play in your face about these reparations, understand that the Democrats do not want reparations for Black Americans. They want universal basic income. That is the push that they're making, but it's not even about universal basic income. It's about a way that they can control the populace so that they have the control over all of the money that they can spend and where they can spend it and when they get it and all of this. It's a move towards totalitarian authoritarianism, very close to what we're seeing in China right now. And the crazy thing is, you'll also hear these same people talk about we need community banks, so the government can control our money more, so the government can control our lives even more. Y'all need to listen to these people. They shady and they shisty. Pay attention, okay? But I digress, and I go back to the fact that the Republicans were the ones who pushed for reparations to begin with. So why aren't we standing on business there? Why aren't we willing to have that conversation? We need to have that conversation. You owe. You said you were going to pay. You owe, pay. And every single person that's out there like, oh, well, the loans, the college loans, the people took it out, they should pay it. Well, you made that was a promise to pay, right? They signed a promissory note saying that they'll pay. Y'all made a promissory note saying that you would pay the descendants of slaves and those who have been enslaved and the American Indians from that area. But you're not living up to that, but you'll say that. No, you got to keep it consistent. And if you make a promise, you got to own up to that promise. So some Republicans are not very big fans of that, because right now they got some stuff warped and twisted in their head. I don't care who you are. I was mad at that previous extension that they did for the budget, because Republicans had promised me that they weren't going to do any more budget continuing resolutions, that they weren't going to raise the debt ceiling. So I was absolutely against it. Thank you. Shout out to Thomas Massey, Chip Roy, and a couple of other people that actually stood on business during that, because everybody else just went along with it. You made a promise, you keep your promise. And that goes back to the Democrats. They make all these promises, they never materialize, even though they're always in power. Explain it to me. But now, right now, going back to the Tom Homan thing and the illegal immigration thing and all of that, they're out here protesting for illegal aliens. They gave out, like, I was looking at the government office of what accountability, and they had done a report in relation to 2020, is it 2023? 2023. I believe they said that it was something ridiculous, like and I can't remember it. I want to make sure that I get it right, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But it said it was like $310 billion spent on illegal aliens with SNAP and Medicaid and stuff like that. Are you serious right now? $310 billion in 1 year under Biden? Can we talk about how much money it must have been the rest of the time? Like, all of that money, we could have almost housed everybody in the country. I believe, if it's not, I'm not mistaken, I believe it's also about $310 billion to house everybody in the country a year that's homeless. You got to go look it up, double check those numbers. But yeah, it's about right. So, but you gave it to these illegal aliens when I got homeless people outside my window right now. When I got families that are struggling right now. And these are the Democrats. You promised these people you were going to address these issues. Why aren't these issues being addressed? But you take care of some illegal aliens. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all, stop voting for these daggone Democrats. Y'all guys got to stop. Got to stop. And I'm not saying to vote for the Republicans, but I'll tell you this. Vote for the people that are going to actually Focus on the issues that are most pertinent in your community and on the local level that are going to increase the actual quality of life for the citizens in your area. Because where I live, they're not doing that. In my whole state, they're not doing that. They only really do it for their benefactors. And that is a very, very serious issue. Okay? It's a very, very serious issue. So let me see if somebody else made a comment. Nobody made a comment yet. If you guys want to, somebody wrote some long thing about Davis versus the town of Greece in the Western Court. I don't know. This is very long. I'm not going to post that because nobody's going to it won't pop up on the screen. And I'm not exactly sure. If you can give me a brief summary, I'll try to pop it up there. You can tell me what is actually going on with that case. Anyway, but thank you so far for listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams, and we're here 2:30 to 4 p.m. We got to do this every so often. So if you ever hear me say this, it's because we got to do that and remind people what radio station that they're listening to and tell them to tell their friends to tune in. Tune in Mondays, and you can catch it on my YouTube, the Marcus C. Williams channel. So anyway, back to it, though. The Democrats are not delivering on their promises. So I encourage you, switch to a non-registered, non-affiliated party. Or if you feel that you're more conservative, maybe consider it. Maybe you are really a Republican and you've been lied to about the Democrat Party. Maybe you're really a Republican. But at the best you could do, leave the Democrat Party because clearly they're for trash right now. All the lies and the deceit, just go non-party, go blank. Or if you're in another state, because New York only really has the four parties, Democrat, Republican, conservative, and working families, maybe you see yourself as a conservative, join the conservative party. You know, maybe you see yourself more Republican, maybe consider joining the Republican Party, talk to some Republicans that are in the party in the committees, and maybe that might be a consideration. But it's time for people to just start throwing these Democrats to the wind, because what I've seen is a lot of people will re-register blank and they won't get out and vote. You got to vote. It's not just Democrats out there that are running. So when you see these other people, maybe you need to vote for them. Maybe you need to vote Republican. Maybe you need to vote conservative. You know, maybe it's a different person that you should vote for that person instead of the party, which I'd like to inform you guys, whether you're Democrat or Republican or independent, you guys can vote for a Republican or a conservative in November. It doesn't matter what party you are in November. Just vote for the person, not the party. It doesn't matter what party you are. Here in Rochester, they say crazy stuff like vote row A all the way or whatever, just vote Democrat. You don't have to just vote Democrat if you're a registered Democrat. In November, when the election comes along for the general election, you can vote for anybody, no matter what party they're in. You just find their name, bubble in their name, or click their name. That's all. It's that simple. Because what's going on right now, it's got to change. It's got to change. It's not okay what's going on. So drop a comment, drop a thumbs up, hit a like. If you guys are able to comment, put a little emoji in there. Put a heart emoji or put an American flag emoji. And if you drop any comments, I'll do my best to pop them up on the screen. All right? Let's get on with it. Now, I want to take a second. I didn't do my regular intro this earlier today, where I tell you if you're soft and you lily-livered and you don't got no spine or you got a short fuse or whatever, this might not be the show for you. So these next couple of conversations and contexts that we're about to get into, you might have some hurt feelings. Your booty hole might hurt. Okay, so either go get you some Depends or, okay, go sit down on one of them, what do they call them things, them donuts, okay? Get you a cool donut to sit on, because I'm about to really give it to you raw right now. Over the weekend, the last couple of days ago, Ukraine blew up a general for Russia in Russia. Now, these people are in the middle of so-called supposed to be getting somewhere near peace talks. And you blowing up generals in Russia? Man, I swear to good golly gosh, they better be glad that I wasn't Putin. Because Putin is very, 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 what's the word? I don't know. There's a good word for it, like strategic or temperate or whatever. There's a better word for it. It starts with a T. Sounds like temperate. I'm not able to pull it out of my head right now. But he's been very inactive on that situation. Like, you blew up one of my generals, I would decimate your whole country. There wouldn't be a country left in the morning. You understand what I'm saying? So when people say that, oh, he's this crazy, terrible villain and he'll topple the world and all of this, no, he won't. He's not good, but he ain't that bad. Like y'all tripping. Because if they would have blown one of my generals up, there wouldn't be a country left. Kiev would have been in rubble. You understand what I'm saying? Matter of fact, there wouldn't be any rubble. There wouldn't be any rubble. I would have dropped like 15 what they call them, Tsar bombas on Kiev had they blown up one of my generals. It wouldn't have been nothing left. So when you say that this is this crazy man, y'all need to really start to think about who you're talking about. Like, he really cares about his people, whether you like him or not. He really cares about his people, and that's his priority. So when we're negotiating with somebody like that, that does have this attitude of strength, but yet the attitude that he has to represent his people, we have to understand that they generally are not what the media is trying to tell us. And that's how we're in this situation right now. That's why this war is dragged out so long. You know that they blew up this Russian general's daughter in Moscow a couple months ago in front of him? Again, no way I would have let that go. And I'm sure that her dad was trying to plead with Putin to tear them up something fierce. And he didn't. Again, if that was me, wouldn't have been no country left. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's playing in somebody's face. Like, are you serious? Like, and the craziest thing is, and here's the thing. We look at Russia as this big, mean baddie, right? And I'm not saying they're not, but I'm saying this is how we perceive them to be. The second most powerful nation in the world. They're not. China is who we really need to be concerned about, but that's another conversation. I see you, Michael. I'm going to put your comment up in a second. But this is a real conversation we need to be having. Have you seen that Putin is out here killing generals and blowing up the daughters of generals inside Ukraine? No, you haven't seen that happen. You haven't seen it happen at all. And if it would have happened, it would have been all on the news everywhere, because if Putin sneezes, it's an attack on Ukraine. So I need you to understand that there is a stark difference between what's being portrayed here and what's actually going on. Now, do you think that America knew that was going to happen? Do you think that Zelensky told America and Trump that they were going to blow up one of the generals for Russia? Absolutely not. That's why when the Pope's funeral happened, Trump pulled him to the side. He said, oh, bro, come on. What are you doing? Now, it's crazy to me and very interesting that he got up on the TV, Trump got up on the TV, and he didn't even mention that they blew up that Russian general. I know he knows, which means that he purposefully didn't bring it up. And that's very interesting to me. Now, let's see. We got some stuff going on here. Michael, what you got going on? Michael says, Zelensky does not want peace. He makes more money with war. That's an absolute 100% fact, Michael. He does make more money with war. Him, his wife, 10 mansions that they got around the world that we know, his giant private yacht, all of this other nonsense, the pictures with all of their cronies taking pictures on beds of money, like it's the freaking that freaking scene in was it Breaking Bad, where the fat guy was laying on all that money? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a real conversation that we need to have. He doesn't really care about his people. He doesn't. And we need to have that serious conversation, but nobody wants to have that conversation because people feel too much emotionally tied into it and stuff like that. I don't care how you feel about Ukraine. I don't care how you feel about Russia. Zelensky is a bad man who doesn't care about his own people. And it showed in the beginning of the war when they were shooting their own people who in the back of the head, who were trying to run away and flee from the war, that refused to be conscripted into the military. And that's when they kicked all the reporters out of Ukraine, if you remember that. There were reports at the beginning like, oh, it's the fog of war. And yeah, some Ukrainians are getting shot by other Ukrainians because it's hard to tell who's Ukrainian and who's Russian and who's this. At the time, there were no Russians inside at the time that was going on. What happened is there were already fighting forces from my words today. I don't know. It's an acrylic word anyway. Donetsk and Luhansk, okay, were already fighting. I believe they had something like almost 150,000 people that were trying to fight against the Western Ukrainians because they're Eastern Ukrainians and they were getting killed up and massacred. You want to talk about genocides? They were being genocided inside Ukraine, but we can't even talk about what the actual origins of this whole stuff were. But we need to have that conversation. Zelensky is a bad man. He's a puppet on top of that. He shut down all of the radio stations and all of the news stations that weren't run by the government. He suspended elections and all of that. That's the movement of a tyrant, an authoritarian. And we supposed to be supporting that? Somebody sound crazy. Come on now. Stop it. Don't play in my face. Let's see. So we got another comment here. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Michael, you made a comment. I can't see what it says. It's just a blank comment, but okay. Anyway, drop a comment, drop a thumbs up, drop a heart. Let me know you're listening. Got another comment. Michael says, all good, bro. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? We got another comment. How do I do that? All right. I can see it, but it won't pop up. Michael says, no doubt. Yeah. So anyway, as we're having this conversation about what's going on in Ukraine, like Zelensky is a bad man, a bad man. I'm not saying Putin is any good, but I'm saying Zelensky is a bad man. I'm not fond of anybody who is willing to use their own people as a human shield. That's a serious problem for me. That's a war crime. Okay. It might not be listed as a war crime, but it should be listed as a war crime. You don't use your own people as a shield, especially innocent civilians. You know what I'm saying? So that's a problem. But more so, the problem is when you're in the middle of peace talks, people trying to get to peace talks and stuff like that, you don't go and blow up the general from another country, especially not Russia. When you're talking about, oh, well, Russia doesn't want to stop fighting. You blowing up their general, you think that's going to make them want to fight less? Like I said, if it was me, I would have turned the whole thing into ashes. There wouldn't have been no ashes even. I'd have bombed it so much, they would have never seen so much force used ever. I'd have just went way OP for no reason, but it would have been a reason because you out here blowing up my generals inside my country. You thinking that you can flex. Listen, all I'm saying is Russia is very measured. And if it was me, I wouldn't be able to do that. If somebody had done America like that, man, listen, so stop playing. Stop playing. But these are the conversations we need to have that people don't want to have because they're too emotionally tied up into it because they've been told what to think and believe from the media. Now today in Iran, one of their ports blew up just last night. And they're like, oh, well, it was just some fuel that was being stored and whatever the case is. And the fuel storage wasn't right and da-da-da-da-da. And this was an port in Iran. And it blew up. It killed like 11 people and like 1,000 people are injured. It'll probably end up being like 41 to 50 by the next couple of hours that they recover bodies. But it was a huge explosion. Very much similar to what happened in Beirut when that Beirut explosion went off at allegedly that fuel storage place. All I'm saying is that nobody, I don't care how you feel about that. Israel blew up Beirut and Israel blew up that thing in Iran last night. They did it. Nobody can convince me otherwise. Okay. I don't care what the news says. I don't care what nobody says. Israel did that. 100% Israel did that. I'm not mad. Let me be clear. I'm not mad. That's Israel doing Israel stuff. That's what they do. Okay. I have a lot of issues with a lot of the stuff that they do, but that is very on character for them. It's on character. It's on brand. You understand what I'm saying? But they said that, oh, well, maybe it was rocket fuel that blew up that was in there and not Ukraine, but Iran is like, no, it wasn't rocket fuel, whatever, da, da, da. I don't know whether it was or whether it wasn't. All I can tell you for sure is that 100% it was Israel that did it. Okay. I don't care what they say. Let's see. We got a couple comments coming in. Got one from Facebook, one from YouTube. Let's see. Michael says, as NATO pushed closer to Russia, Putin asked to have the defense system in Crimea, as US would have done it if they wanted one in Mexico or Canada. They told Putin no, so he took it. If people would just read something, LOL. Dude, you're not wrong. There's a lot of information out there that's you can actually find in relation to that whole situation that we don't have conversations about because you can't. You just, nobody wants to. And when you do, people are like, don't say that. Be quiet. Oh my goodness. How could you say that? And I'm not willing to deal with them type of people. But anyway, let's see. We got another comment. Mad Mog says Zelensky is playing games, prolonging the war to stay in power. Yeah, I bet you Zelensky dies after he gets out of office. Guarantee you. And I would bet money it's not Putin or Russia that goes after him either. That's the craziest thing, because he will be done. The West will be done with him. He'll no longer be any use for them. He'll fallen out of favor. He's fallen out of favor with a lot of Western countries right now, except France is propping him up. And don't get me started on France. You guys, if you've listened to me before, sometimes I go on a little bit of a tirade about France because I can't stand France as a country. They always getting us into something. Every single war that we have been in since World War II included, we have been in because of the French. Vietnam, the French. Okay. Korea, the French. You understand what I'm saying? Every single conflict we've been in is because of the French. You guys remember Black Hawk Down in Africa? Why were we there? The French. It's always the freaking French. The French always getting us in some daggone nonsense. Always the French. It's always the French. Okay? And that's not a rebuke of the people. That's a rebuke of the French government consistently getting us into trash and instigating fights for the past 100+ years. Always dragging us into stuff. Now they're trying to drag us. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what's going on in, Burkina Faso, but now they're trying to get us, France is trying to get us pulled into that. They've been trying to get us pulled into that conflict over there for some time. We don't want no smoke in the Sahel region. We got to go look up what the Sahel region is. It's a region of countries in like the middle of Africa that were run by the French for probably the last almost 200 years. There's a whole thing there. They were using the French currency. Okay, the French franc. It was what was it called? The carf or whatever. I'm not able to remember it, but it was basically a French pegged currency, and France just continued to drain the resources from these countries down there for generations, and that's why they don't have any development. That's why they're all in conflict continuously. That's why it's a problem. So earlier last year, the guy that's in there, Ibrahim, I'm not able to pronounce his last name right now, but anyway, he decided to kick the French out of there. You know what I'm saying? He's like, the French got to go, the Americans got to go, everybody got to go. And now he's working on getting rid of the French currency and going on to a gold-based currency. So he's probably not long for life because, they can't have anybody have a gold-backed currency. But the other stuff that he's been doing for his people is honestly pretty good. Like, I ain't got to like him, but he's good for his country. I don't not like him, but I'm just saying, for me as being American, I could not care if this country fell off the map tomorrow. I wouldn't know, but this is what I'm saying. So, but he's doing good for his people. Ain't no way France is going to let that go. They big mad right now because they got a lot of resources down in that region. And now the other Sahel region countries are trying to team up with them. And they were like, yeah, we can all do this together and just completely get rid of France. And France is like, America, you guys need to help us. They've been doing this for almost a year trying to get us involved down there. And we'll be like, nah. Now we got the general from AFRICOM, whatever his name is, black dude. Okay, I'm not able to remember his name right now. But anyway, he came out the other day and was like, yeah, something. He's not good. Maybe we should do something about him. I said, what? I said, you tripping. You need to shush your mouth. Okay? Shush it. He's no threat to us. But again, these people are also now coming closer to Russia because they've kicked out of the French and they've kicked out of the Americans in this area. It was mostly the French. It wasn't really us. We had a little bit of bases there, but it wasn't any type of real troop penetration in there. But yeah, so he made a comment earlier. Ibrahim had made a comment earlier last year, and he was like, listen, he's like, for years, for generations, these people have been stealing from us. And our country hasn't benefited at all. It's time that we benefit ourselves. I can't be mad at that. And he said that he'd prefer to go with the Russians versus the Chinese or versus the French or anything, because the Russians will actually invest in the projects that they want them to invest in instead of trying to trick them with all types of high prices that they won't be able to afford, or get them to grow crops that they can't even eat in their own countries, which is what France did and all types of stuff. France is bad, bad, bad. But anyway, yeah, somebody dropped a comment. Let me see. What we got here? David, I see you there. David, what you talking about? You talking about something different than what we're talking about right now? Let's see what David's talking about. David says, how do I click it? Oh, it won't pop up. David, it won't pop up. I'm trying to click it. It won't. I don't know what's going on with it. It doesn't like it. Let's see if I can read it, though. David says, hello, Marcus C. Williams. I was taking pictures around Rochester today at Holy Sepulchre Cemetery and was taking pictures on 480 Maplewood Drive and taking pictures all of the trash that I've seen. Sign about contact the mayor on the immigrants. Check it out. I definitely will after I get off this stream, because for whatever reason it won't let me pop this up. Maybe you have a picture attached, so it won't let me pop it up. That could be what it is. But anyway, if you guys are listening, drop a comment, drop a like, definitely drop a little flag emoji or a heart emoji. Let me know you're watching. Share this on your page. Share it on your friend's page. Retweet this. And definitely make sure that you are subscribed or following my page right now. And if you're on the radio, listen to us on the radio, you can actually follow my page on YouTube. It's the Marcus C. Williams channel. And let's get back into it. So France is yet again trying to get us involved in some shenanigans. I'm about tired of France, okay? We need to, maybe France is one of our oldest allies or whatever. They done got us into so much trash. And the French is the reason why Haiti is the way that Haiti is now. They got us involved in messing up Haiti. I got a lot to say about that too. Haiti was our ally. Haiti was some of the first people to help us out, okay? And then what we do, we flipped on them for France. Don't get me started. I got a lot to say about it. It's so disgusting, make you want to spit. It's very frustrating, you guys. This type of stuff is not okay. So we got to really pay attention to these people and find out if they really are our allies. When they were at, when Trump was at the funeral for the Pope, he wanted to talk to Zelensky alone, and here come Macron, short nonsense self with his big nose, trying to nosy his nose into our business. If he don't go sit down somewhere, you can't even control your own country. You got so many aliens inside your own country running around that you almost had a civil war on your hands, bro. But then France put down this almost civil war in their place by extremely authoritarian measures, which nobody even talks about. France is not great. France is trash. Okay, they treat their people like trash. And I don't like it very much, but I'm not able to do nothing about it. And I honestly couldn't care more, because France is a whole nother country. I'm concerned about America. So this is, but again, French always doing some French stuff. And then French been talking all types of trash behind our back and trying to maneuver behind our back because they want to be the king of Europe or whatever the case is. Nobody care. Nobody care. Who are you? And while I'm at it, on the same topic of Europe, Lagarde, okay, she can kick rocks. And the other lady can kick rocks too. That looks like her, who I can't remember her name at this point. But anyway, all of them, whole European Union, trash. All right. You know, it's very astounding to me that Europe, with all of their other internal problems inside their own countries, are so concerned about Russia. Russia doesn't have enough troops if they were invaded to keep their own lands. So you worried about them for what? Russia lost like 24 million people over the last couple of decades. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't got nobody. They ain't got nobody for war. Like they can't defend themselves. Ain't no way they're gonna go into no other country. Not seriously. They just don't have the numbers. Like but you'd have to actually read some information on them to actually understand or know that. They lost so many people during World War II. They're still not accounting for their losses from World War II. They got serious issues in their population. So they can't fight. They're not invading Europe. Please. They don't have the manpower. And who else you think going to join them to invade Europe? Nobody. Because again, they don't have enough manpower. The majority of the country is over there. Everybody old or don't have any children. Like, it's crazy. Like, they're not going anywhere. World war. No, it's not happening. The only way that something's going to happen and really pop off with Russia is if they provoke it from Russia. Because Russia ain't no little Laffy Taffy BI, you know the rest of the letters. You understand what I'm saying? Like, but they're like, oh, Russia's so big and so bad. But you know who will start pop off some stuff? China. China will. But can we have some conversation about that? Let's go back to talking about these tariffs and talking about China. China big mad right now, and you got these crazy people online talking about, oh, China's winning from the tariffs. China's winning. How's China winning and they make most of the stuff? You sound dumb. If we buying less stuff from them, they hurt. If the prices go up, that means that they're going to have to charge more, which means that companies are going to have to charge more. And at some point, there is no break even. You understand what I'm saying? Let's give an example. I'll give you an example. Let's just say this headphone jack, I got a headphone jack right here. Let's say this headphone jack is $15, right? It's probably not, but let's just say it is. Let's say this headphone jack was $15, right? So I have a company and we get headphone jacks from China, right? Let's just say that. And the headphone jack cost me $15. I sell the headphone jack for $25, $30, or whatever the case is, right? So there's 125% tariff on that or whatever. Now, and it's not on all goods. So I'm just giving an example. Don't take this to heart. It's not on all goods. So let's just say it's 125% tariff on this, right? So that means that my cost is going to go up double. So now I spend $15 on it. Now it's going to cost me $30. Well, I'm selling it for $30. How am I going to sell it for $30? I'm not going to make any money. Now I'm going to have to charge $60. But the value of this as a piece of equipment is going to go down, or people are not going to want to buy it at all because it costs too much. You understand what I'm saying? So then that means I got to find some other source to actually get it from, because ain't nobody paying $60 for this. They're just not. It's just not. They're going to figure out another way. You understand what I'm saying? So, but that's the conversation we need to have. China's hurting bad. And I know all of these people that have been oh, China's great, everything's so fantastic. Look at these very high pollutant cities that they got over there. Look at how techy they are. Look at all of these great trains and stuff. Y'all tripping. China got over 1 billion people, and it's something like 80% of the people that live in the country are in rural areas. Okay? And then it's like another 15% of them live in like small size cities. Like these in very modernized industrial cities, like it's not a lot of people that are in these cities compared to their total population. Y'all are being deceived and you're eating right into it. You're eating right into it. You're being deceived by China. This is the propaganda that they're selling. If China can't sell their goods, where are people going to work? That's just the basic question. If you're not able to sell the stuff that you make, how are you going to pay people to make the stuff that you make? You're not going to be able to do that. So factories close down. So from what I've seen and what I've heard is that many of the factories are already shutting down. Many of them are concerned how they're going to be able to stay afloat, especially newer factories that have come up over the last couple of years because they took out loans and stuff like that for their business, and now they're not going to be able to pay them back. So they're going to default. Now, if you knew anything about China, you'd know that China has already had a real estate market almost collapse. One of their very big investors in real estate, Evergreen, they collapsed a couple months ago, maybe about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more now. They collapsed. So all of that money, all those people had invested in all of those homes and houses, poof, right off of the book, right off of the registry, gone into the vapor. And now they're about to have another housing collapse, okay, because people are not even able to sell their houses in these nice cities that you see on the internet, okay? Oh, they're so nice and stuff like that. But most of the people that are buying these properties and stuff like that have money reserved to buy the properties. Or they're people that have just broken out of living in the middle of the forest. Okay, I'm joking. They do have forests there, but most of the people live in like flatlands and grasslands and stuff like that. Some of them live in the mountains, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? The middle of nowhere, practically. And now they're going back to their own homes because they can't even afford to live in the city. You know, and you look at it and people are like, oh, well, bread over there is like only 50 cents. Okay, in American, that's only 50 cents in American. But if they're only making $5, $10 a day, You adjust that for income, you know what I'm saying? Like that is a lot of money for them. That is a lot of money for them. Or maybe even a normal price, but it's not cheap like they're trying to make you believe on the internet. Like they're tripping. They're like, "Oh, well, I went here and it cost me so much little." And I'm like, "You have no clue how currency exchange works or foreign exchange rates work, do you?" These people have no clue. They're just looking at it from a closed perception that they have no real concept of how the actual world works. I live in New York State for years. Our dollar was worth $1.25 in Canada. So when we would go up there, we could spend $1. We get it. It would be like $1.25. So we'd have an extra 25% on top of our money. So we'd have more money to spend. And the prices seemed like they were less. And it wasn't so much that they were less. It's that the currency that they had was like 25% less than our currency. But can we have that type of a conversation? Like these are the conversations that we need to have that nobody wants to have. China's on the verge of collapse. We hold on to these tariffs a couple more months, they done. They done. They big done. They're about to have a revolution over there right now. Like I'm not sure that you guys actually have enough information on what's going on in China, and I encourage you to look into it. So look up the lay flat movement. So the lay flat movement got started by college students that were in China because they couldn't get any real jobs that would pay them any type of real money. This started a couple of years ago. So, and they couldn't get any type of real money, even though they had college degrees and all the jobs that they had, they were promised, they didn't work or whatever the case is. So they said, well, let's just lay flat and do nothing. Like if in Japan, kind of like a hikikomori, you know, but even a hikikomori might do a job online or something like that. But in China, it was called the lay flat movement. Look it up. Now they've got a new movement called let it rot, which is very similar, where they're just so completely fed up with everything, the government and the fact that they don't have any money and they can't do anything and they're not even able to afford food really. They're like, just let it all rot. Don't even go outside. Don't even bother doing anything. Why bother? Okay. And this is coming off of a very serious period of horrible financial times for the average Chinese citizen during COVID. Like you thought it was bad here if you lived in a shutdown state. Over there it was way worse. Way worse. So a lot of people never recovered from that, as we have never recovered here from that, really. But a lot of people over there were still hurt bad, down bad from that. Now they're down bad even worse because now the factories are shutting down. They're ready to ferment a whole revolution over there. They're going online, talking smack about Xi Jinping online and the Communist Party online. And you don't do that in China. If you know something about China, you do not do that because they will come pick you up. They'll pick your family up. They'll torture and erase you. You will go out and you will never come back. Okay? And we saw that happen during COVID. But we see it happen all the time in China. I mean, look at the people they use in China. They use rape as a weapon of torture and war. You understand what I'm saying? They use forced sterilization. They use all types of crazy stuff in China that they do over there. And all of a sudden, China is all so great. Y'all tripping. Y'all know nothing about China. Y'all tripping. Oh, they're showing us some facade. Y'all going to do the same thing for North Korea? And be like, oh, look at the great big buildings in North Korea that don't even have elevators to go up to the top. You got to walk up there, which actually is a problem in China right now. Many Chinese people are talking about how they can't, the elevators in the places don't work. I was watching a thing on some of the housing over there, and they were showing how they built these houses like in the 90s, and they're like just coming up on 30 years, like these big high rises and stuff like that, and they're completely falling to rubble. And they're like, and the property owner won't even fix the water filtration system for years and stuff like that. And the elevators don't work and all types of crazy stuff. And I'm like, see, this is what's going on. And people don't even know this is happening. Okay. Even with the small little amount of information on the bad things that are happening in China that are getting out, we could just imagine that whatever it is probably 10 times worse than what we're actually seeing. Okay. And over the last couple of years, they've been just disappearing people that have been fermenting against the Communist Party in China. Because people mad. They mad. They got stuff that was, again, this goes back to what I said earlier. If you promise something and you're political, you need to stand by it. So China made these promises to all of these people that were young people that were coming up, that they'd have all these great lives and stuff like that. And they struggling barely to live. So this is a real serious situation. And if we keep these tariffs on, yeah, it's going to hurt us. Stuff's going to cost a little bit more. And we might not be able to get all of the goods and stuff and things that we want. But we need to refocus where we're buying our stuff. Like, I'm a black person, and they say, oh, well, buy black, buy black, buy black if you're black. You understand what I'm saying? We used to have this thing, it used to be buy American, buy American, buy American. We don't say that. Nobody says buy American anymore. We need to be saying that again. Okay. Everybody was cheering Canada like, oh, they're getting rid of American products because Trump is putting on tariffs. Yay, they should buy Canadian. You dumb? You should buy American. You're American. Buy American. What's wrong with you? So, but we have these concepts in black culture. You should buy black, which they don't do. That's a serious problem. We need to do more internal investment in the black community by other black people, because the dollar doesn't even stay in the black community for more than a couple of minutes. And in other demographics, it stays there for days and hours, which is a serious problem, because you look at all of the businesses in black neighborhoods and they're all owned by somebody else. They're owned by Asians, or they're owned by Arabs, or they're owned by white people. Black people barely own any businesses in largely urban areas and black communities. And they just released a video in relation to the Asians that were in the South that were opening businesses during the Jim Crow era in black neighborhoods, because it was easier for them to get businesses there and business loans than it was for blacks. It was a whole thing. I wish I remembered the name of the documentary. It was a great documentary, great documentary. And they were interviewing people that were there, like Koreans and some Chinese and stuff like that. It's crazy. It was very, very interesting. But it's about buying in your community, from your community, so the dollar circulates in your community. I do my best not to shop at these Arab stores or stores that people own that are foreigners, okay? Because they send all the money home. They send it home. I got a lot of friends that are Haitian or Jamaican or whatever. And they always complain to me that they've people back home, or even Africans, okay? They're like, oh, we got to send all this money home. We got to send all this money home. And these people don't even know how hard we work for the little bit of money that we got. But the value of the dollar is worth more. So when they send whatever little they can back home, it's worth a good amount to them. But again, that's money that's getting out of our communities, that's leaving the country. We need our money here. So when we see these Arab stores, a lot of these Arabs aren't even citizens. That's a whole separate conversation. But they send all of their money back home. I'm not mad at them, because our government is giving them a way to be able to enable them to do that. And they shouldn't have a way to be able to do that. You understand what I'm saying? I would do my best not to shop at none of them. No offense, but if I shop, I want somebody that's invested in my country wholeheartedly. That's what I want. Okay, listen, you got to at least be married in or something somewhere. I need some skin in the game in my country. You understand what I'm saying? I need third, fourth generation, okay, in the country. I can't have you sending all our money back to other foreign countries and taking the money out of our economy. Buy American, y'all. Buy American. Buy American. That's what we need to do. Everybody's so concerned about everything else. And these tariffs and things are going to go up and stuff like that. Yeah, but if you buy American, you're putting money into our country. You're employing people in our country. Like that's a conversation that we need to have. We need to have a renewed sense of national pride and national focus, where we invest in our country by buying stuff that was made in America. Do you guys know, and I know some of the younger people like me, because this didn't even happen in my lifetime. This happened right before my lifetime. But Walmart used to only sell stuff that was made in America. Walmart used to only sell stuff that was made in America. I wish that I could have seen that day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Like, that's where we need to get back at now. Walmart needs to sell stuff that's only made in America. I need them to sell at least 75% of the stuff that they make is made in America. I need them to go up. I need that to be in their corporate filings. I need them to put on their what do you call it? Investors, stockholders report and meetings, that they're going to try to make everything that they sell 50% made in America in the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd really like it to be 100%, but I know that's not realistic. But if we can make it in America, it should be bought in America. There's a lot of, what would you call them? There's a lot of agencies and stuff like that in the US that are government agencies that buy stuff from foreign countries. Why are you buying it from foreign countries? Is it made in America? Can we get it from America? Then it needs to be sourced from America. Hello, you're the American government sending money, buy stuff from some other foreign country. Don't make that. That makes no type of sense. No type of sense, not even a little bit. And it's a serious problem. And that's the continued disinvestment in our nation. Drop a comment, drop a like, hit the heart button, hit the thumbs up, drop a little emoji in the comments, drop a smiley face, a heart, or an American flag in the comments. Let me know that you're listening. Share this on your page, share it on your friend's page, hit retweet this. Okay, get it out wherever you can. Send it in an email to a friend. Send it in a text message. Send it in Messenger. Whatever you do, make sure you get this conversation out, because we're having a conversation that you need to hear right here in your ear. Now, as we talk about this whole tariff thing and China situation, China's collapsing because of it. Okay, in a couple months, and I do think that if we keep it up, we're going to start to feel the pain a little bit. But I'd rather them suffer completely and us feel a little bit of pain. Because, mainly the main things that I got that I need more of are either not made in China at all, or our food, which I want to be made in America anyway. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's it, except for olive oil, right? Like maybe olive oil should only come from the one place that it comes from, which honestly, most of the olive oil is fake, which is for a whole nother program that I should be doing. But that we're not gonna talk about that. But yeah, mostly I need food. All of my clothes, most of my clothes are like 100% cotton. I look inside the shirt that I'm wearing right now, even though it's not generally one of my shirts, because you guys know I don't wear white clothes like that, but 100% cotton. Okay, Cotton Manufacturers of America, whatever the case is. We need to be making our stuff here. We need to be buying our stuff here. That's how we reinvest in our own country. Why are we reinvesting in other countries? Isn't that the same complaint? Oh, they're sending our jobs overseas. Well, don't send your money overseas. Hello? Stop doing business with them people. Do like the Jews do. The Jews only do business with Jews. So only do business with Americans. What's wrong with y'all? We got to get it together. And I know everybody's not so fond of the Jews, but let's be honest. They got it a lot on the ball compared to everybody else. They only do business with their people. They give their own people no interest loans. But in the meantime, they skinning us on all the other loans, high interest loans, stuff like that. Don't get me started on that. Usury is illegal. Okay. It's also illegal by my religion. So we're not going to talk about that. But the fact of the matter is they do their own people good, and they stay in their own community. They spend their money in their own community. How can we get back to that as America, at least on the national level? At least buy American in America. You understand what I'm saying? People get mad at them. I'm not mad that you mad at them. Everybody mad at somebody for some reason. Okay? I got a lot of people that I'm not happy with, but everybody mad at somebody for some reason. But they got the blueprint for us to be able to benefit ourselves. If we operated the same way as a country that the Jews operate within the Jewish community, we wouldn't have these problems. Fact. Okay, we wouldn't have these problems. I don't know. We can't learn the lesson. Okay, look, you ain't got to like somebody to take the good information from them. Look, they showing you what to do. So I don't care whether you like them, love them, or don't like them at all. They showing us exactly how to do it. Look at the Amish. The Amish, the same thing. Again, if you don't like the Amish, I don't know why you don't like the Amish, but if you don't, there are people that don't like the Amish. I don't get it, but whatever. Okay, but if you don't like them, they showing you exactly what to do. They do all of the stuff within inside their own communities. They don't go outside their communities. They mind their business, and they reinvest in their own families and their own communities. Why aren't we doing that as a nation? If we did that as a nation, we wouldn't be having all of these dependencies on everybody else. We'd be able to flourish and go good all by our own self. I live in, and I'll get ready to close this off, but I live up here in New York State. We're one of the apple capitals of the country, of the world even. And I go to the store and I go to buy some apple juice, and the apple juice is like 5 different countries that ain't America. Okay. They're like Argentina, Belize, okay, Brazil, Africa. Like what? Like, how do you mean? Like, I live here. The apple trees are outside my house. They're not outside my house. They got cut down. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the apple orchards is not too far from me. The strawberries, we got strawberries right here. Where the strawberries come from? Strawberries come from some other country. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is a problem. We got to think locally how we can think nationally, think locally. We need to invest locally. We need to invest nationally. If you live in a place, that's where the majority of your food should come from, the state that you're in. Okay. If you live in America, the majority of your products should be coming from the place that you are in. If we can do that, we can become more self-sufficient. We won't have to worry about all of these other countries. We won't have to worry about the currency going up and down. We won't have to worry about all these other issues and all types of stuff. But that's why we got to get it together. So I encourage you guys, hit the like, hit the share. If you listen to us on the radio, remember to tune in every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. You're listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3, where we share the conversations that you need to hear right here in your ear. The #1 upstate conservative talk show. Tune in every week and make sure that you subscribe or follow wherever you are online, and follow my YouTube. You guys subscribe. It goes into the podcast, so you can listen to it as a podcast on YouTube Music. Just go on my YouTube, the Marcus C. Williams channel. You'll find it. All right, you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. All right, you guys. So, boom. So we talked about a lot of stuff today. One thing I want to do to give you guys some encouragement is this. You got to make sure that you're getting active locally. Okay? Like I said, everything needs to have a local focus. If we're not focusing locally, nobody is going to focus on us. This is a fact. This isn't a fiction. This is it. Okay? I live in Rochester. My majority of my focus is the city of Rochester. No offense to anywhere else in the state. Okay? No offense to anywhere else in the country. If we all work diligently to bring up our own areas and participate in local government, we can make a real change and a real effort no matter where you live in the country. Local, in your city, in your town, you can start to make a difference. Even depending on how big your city is, even in your own neighborhood, in your ward or whatever it is. Like, we can start to make real differences locally if we focus locally. I live in Rochester. I'm going to give you an example. Our food for the children, we got a lot of farmland up here. They've been turning it into solar fields, which, as you guys should know, and I hope you do know this. If you don't, here's some important knowledge I'm going to drop on you. The stuff from the solar panels and stuff, it leaches into the earth. Okay, so all of that farmland that they're putting these solar panels on will never be able to be used for growing food again. Some of the major companies and major corporations, because of that, like the potato growers and stuff like that in other states, they will not let any land that has ever been used for solar panels to be used to grow their crops. This is a real serious thing. And in New York State, we need to get a hold of this, because they don't put all of these things on so much land, and they don't even produce anything of any value, really, because the energy that they produce is not that much at all. And we need to talk about that, because once these tax credits run out and once these reimbursements run out, people aren't going to know what to do, and they won't be able to grow any food there anymore, because now all those chemicals and stuff have leached into the soil. But we can't talk about that they're slowly trying to kill us and prevent us from being able to grow our own food here. It's all a flim flam by the government. Whenever the government's trying to sell you something, know that most likely it is not good for you, and there is something devious behind it that will give them make them able to have more control and more power over you in the long run. Now, I say this about the farming and stuff right here where I live, because we got all these farms up here. We got the beef, we got the lettuce, we got the strawberries, we got the everything, right? But if you look at our schools here locally, they just redid all of the schools in this thing called the School Modernization Act, right? All of them have beautiful, beautiful brand new kitchens. Beautiful brand. They don't even use them. They source out all of the food from some companies in the middle of nowhere that we don't know exactly where they come from, and all the food looks like trash or cardboard. Okay, it's big bad. I mean, there was an article where they did an expose here in our local news of how the food was moldy, that the sandwiches and stuff were moldy that they were serving the children. And if you go into schools and you look at some of this food, it's terribly trash. And then you wonder why the kids can't focus or aren't able to do any of the other work, or are bouncing off the walls and stuff. You get them all types of I was going to say hydrocarbons. I didn't mean hydrocarbons, but you do give them all types of hydrocarbons. I guarantee you that there's oil in that stuff that they're eating, aside from other chemicals and stuff like that. But they put all this stuff in the food. The food's not even natural here. We should just get it here locally. We can locally source the food. I can almost guarantee you we can source 60 to 70% of all the products locally. And on the second thought of that, why aren't we sourcing the other products from stuff like, I don't know, Restaurant Depot or some other place where we get the food and then make it inside our actual cafeterias. More prestigious schools do that. You know what I'm saying? And other local schools that are like other types of schools do that also, you know? So we should be doing that. Plus, it will give us the ability to start training the kids to do that that might take an interest in that. Like these are real, and if you train them to start making their own food and making it for the rest of the school and stuff like that, that'll be a godsend because it will teach them some responsibility as well as delayed gratification and some other real important life lessons. So that would be fantastic. But we're not focusing on any of that because, you know, that'll be too much like right. But if people like us and those of you who are watching my show that are starting to have the wheels turn and starting to think about different ways that we can do things that were either traditionally the way that we did it or are either alternative options to how we're doing it now to actually make things better. If we start to get more involved, we can see a real difference. So I encourage you, get involved locally. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Be blessed and be well. Oh, and if you're local, please do volunteer for my campaign because I'm running for city council this year. And you don't have to be local to donate. You can donate no matter where you are in the country. Donate on my website to my campaign, Marcus4Rochester.com. That's Marcus4Rochester.com. I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be real well.